I still can't believe Jeffrey is telling everyone I'm some gold-digging cheater who deserved to be abandoned in a foreign country. He's all over Reddit acting like he's the victim when he literally canceled my flight home and left me sleeping in airports with cockroaches, all because I met someone who showed me what I was missing in our relationship. Now I've lost everything, my job, my apartment, my entire future, because he couldn't handle me realizing I deserved better. Let me tell you what really happened. Not his twisted version where I'm some evil witch who broke his heart. Jeffrey was a nice guy, sure, but nice doesn't pay the bills or give you the life you deserve. After 3 years together, I finally saw what I'd been missing, and he destroyed my entire life for it. We met at this charity hackathon thing. I was leading the front-end team for my company, basically doing all the visual stuff that actually matters to users. Jeffrey was doing back-end, which is just the boring technical stuff nobody sees. When they merged our teams, he spent the whole time arguing with me about every little detail. I should have known then he'd be the type to never let me win anything. That night in the server room wasn't romantic like he tells people. We were both exhausted after 40 hours of no sleep, and honestly, I don't even remember how it happened. One minute we were arguing about code, the next we were making out. Not exactly a fairy tale beginning, but I was 25 and thought maybe opposites attract or whatever. For 3 years, I tried to make it work. Jeffrey was stable, had a decent job, wasn't terrible looking. My friends thought I'd hit the jackpot with a tech guy, but they didn't see what life with him was really like. He was content with mediocrity, happy to live in a 1-bedroom apartment forever, cooking the same 5 meals on rotation, never wanting to travel anywhere that required a passport. Every Sunday he'd meal prep, 6 hours in the kitchen making the exact same things: grilled chicken, brown rice, steamed broccoli. He'd portion them out in these sad plastic containers, labeling each one with the day of the week. "It's efficient," he'd say when I suggested we try something new. "Why waste time thinking about food every day?" Why? Because we're not robots, Jeffrey. Because sometimes a girl wants sushi on a Tuesday or pasta that didn't come from a container marked Thursday in Sharpie. Our date nights were just as predictable. Every Friday we'd go to the same 3 restaurants on rotation. The Thai place where he'd get pad, CU, mild, no vegetables. The burger joint where he'd order the same turkey burger, no bun, sweet potato fries. The Mexican place where he'd get chicken fajitas and complain they gave too many tortillas. "Why don't we try that new French place?" I'd suggest. "It's $40 for an entree," he'd say, like I'd suggested we rob a bank. "We can make steak at home for 10. But we never made steak at home. We made chicken. Always chicken. I swear I grew feathers from all the chicken I ate in those 3 years. The engagement ring situation tells you everything. He proposed 6 months ago with his grandmother's old ring, this ugly green emerald that looked like something from a garage sale. I'd sent him literally dozens of Instagram posts showing the kind of rings I liked. Modern settings, princess-cut diamonds, something that actually sparkled. Instead, he gave me this family heirloom that probably hadn't been cleaned since 1952. "It's unique, just like you," he said when he proposed. Translation: "I was too cheap to buy you what you actually wanted, but I smiled and said yes because I thought maybe marriage would change things. Maybe he'd finally start acting like other boyfriends who took their girlfriends to nice restaurants and bought them designer bags for their birthdays." I tried talking to him about our future. When this amazing startup opportunity came up that would have tripled his salary, I encouraged him to take it. But no, Jeffrey wanted work-life balance. He was happy making basic money while all my friends' boyfriends were making 6 figures and taking them on trips to Dubai and Santorini. "Money isn't everything," he'd say while I scrolled through Instagram watching everyone else live their best lives. Easy to say when you're not the one whose college friends are all getting engaged with 2-carat rings and having destination weddings while you're stuck with someone's grandmother's jewelry. My friend Brittany's boyfriend took her to Paris to propose at the Eiffel Tower with a custom Tiffany ring. Ashley's fiancé shut down an entire restaurant and had a flash mob. Even my cousin Sarah, who I always thought I was prettier than, got proposed to on a yacht in the Hamptons, with a ring that cost more than Jeffrey's car. And how did Jeffrey propose? In our apartment, after meal prep Sunday. I came home from yoga and he was on one knee in the kitchen, between the containers of chicken and broccoli. So romantic. "I thought you'd want something intimate," he said later when I asked why he didn't plan something special. Intimate. That's Jeffrey speak for cheap. The trip to Greece and Italy was supposed to be my last chance to experience luxury before settling into married life with Jeffrey. My college friends had been planning it for months. Ashley's boyfriend paid for her ticket. Brittany's fiancé upgraded her to first class. Meanwhile, I had to pay for myself because Jeffrey needed to save for our future. What future? A slightly bigger apartment in the same boring neighborhood? I'd been saving for months, skipping lunches, buying drugstore makeup instead of Sephora, all so I could afford this trip. Jeffrey's contribution? A lecture about fiscal responsibility and how we should be saving for a house down payment instead. "A house where?" I asked. "In the suburbs? So you can have a bigger kitchen for meal prep?" He didn't think that was funny. Before I left, he bought me this green dress for our anniversary. It was nice, I guess, but it was just another reminder that everything had to match that ugly ring. Even his gifts were about marking me as his property. The dress screamed "taken," which I guess was the point. In Mykonos, everything changed. I met Vittorio at this beach club where all the yacht people hang out. He wasn't just some random guy. He was a successful businessman who owned multiple restaurants and a boat charter company. He bought champagne for our whole table without even blinking. This was a man who understood how to treat women. The first time I saw him, he was walking across the beach club like he owned it, which I found out later he partially did. Armani swim shorts, gold Rolex, that Mediterranean tan that looked like honey. When he smiled at our table, every girl stopped talking. "Ladies, welcome to paradise," he said, signaling the waiter. "Dom Perignon for my new American friends." Just like that. No checking prices, no mental math about splitting the bill, no water is fine for me. This was a man who understood that life was meant to be enjoyed. "You American girls always look so stressed," he said in this sexy Italian accent. "Let me show you how to really enjoy life." And he did. For the first time in 3 years, I felt alive. He took us out on his yacht. An actual yacht, not some fishing boat like Jeffrey probably has you believing. We went to private beaches, exclusive restaurants, places where celebrities vacation. This was the life I was supposed to be living. He told me about his businesses, his travels, how he split time between Mykonos, Milan, and Miami. This wasn't some guy content to sit in the same apartment coding all day. This was a man who understood ambition, luxury, the finer things in life. "You have expensive taste," he said one day, admiring my bikini. It was a compliment, not a criticism like when Jeffrey would say it. That's good. A beautiful woman should have beautiful things. Imagine that. A man who thought I deserved nice things instead of making me feel guilty for wanting them. Was I attracted to him? Of course. He was everything Jeffrey wasn't. Successful, spontaneous, generous. He didn't check his bank account before ordering wine. He didn't suggest we cook at home to save money when I wanted to try a nice restaurant. He showed me what I'd been missing. That last night, Vittorio invited me to dinner on his boat. My friends encouraged me to go. "You're not married yet," Ashley said. "Have some fun before you're stuck with Jeffrey forever." She was right. In a few months, I'd be legally tied to someone who thought Olive Garden was fancy. This was my last chance to experience real luxury. The dinner was incredible. Fresh seafood, expensive champagne, watching the sunset from the deck of a yacht. Vittorio told me about his businesses, his travels, his plans to expand to America. This was a man with ambition, not someone content to code in a dark room forever. "You deserve someone who appreciates your beauty," he said. "Someone who can give you the life you clearly desire." He was right. I did deserve more. So yes, we kissed. And yes, I was wearing the green dress Jeffrey bought me. In that moment, wearing that dress while kissing someone who actually valued me felt like justice. Like finally choosing myself after 3 years of settling. The video happened because I'd been drinking champagne and felt brave. I wanted Jeffrey to understand that other men saw my value even if he didn't. I wasn't trying to be cruel. I was trying to wake him up. The text might have been harsh, but sometimes you need to be harsh to make someone understand. Found someone who actually knows how to treat women, I wrote. Because it was true. Vittorio had treated me better in 1 week than Jeffrey had in 3 years. The part about the studio apartment was maybe mean, but I was tired of pretending our mediocre life was enough. What happened next is where Jeffrey shows his true colors. Instead of fighting for me, instead of realizing he needed to step up, he canceled my flight home. He called the hotel and had them kick me out. He left me stranded in a foreign country with no way home. Who does that to someone they claim to love? Vittorio disappeared the next morning. Turns out he does this with tourists all the time. Whatever. The real betrayal was Jeffrey abandoning me when I needed help. I was alone, scared, and literally homeless in Greece because my fiancé wanted revenge more than he wanted to help me. I had to sleep in the airport for 2 nights. Do you know what that's like for a woman alone? Men kept approaching me. Security kept moving me along. I couldn't shower or change clothes. I sold my watch, a graduation gift from my grandmother, just to afford a hostel where the beds had bugs and strange men tried to get into my room. All because Jeffrey wanted to punish me for realizing I deserved better than him. He could have just broken up with me like a normal person. Instead, he destroyed everything. My parents eventually wired money, but by then Jeffrey had poisoned them against me. He sent that video without context, made it look like I'd been planning some affair for months. My dad barely spoke to me the whole flight home. My mom kept asking how I could throw away a good man. They didn't understand that their definition of good was my definition of settling. When I finally got home, Jeffrey had changed the locks on our apartment. My stuff was gone. He'd turned all our friends against me by playing the victim. I lost my job because he told my boss I lied about being stranded, even though I was stranded because of him. My entire life imploded because I dared to want more than a 1-bedroom apartment and a grandmother's ring. The humiliation of showing up at our building, correction, his building now, and having my key not work. The doorman I'd said good morning to for 3 years looking at me with pity. "I'm sorry, miss, you're not on the list anymore." Not on the list, like I was some groupie trying to get into a club, not a woman who'd lived there, who'd decorated that apartment, who'd made it a home while Jeffrey just cared about having good Wi-Fi for his gaming setup. I tried to be dignified about it, went to his office to talk like adults, but security wouldn't even let me in the lobby. 3 years together and I'd become a security threat. His co-workers walking by, pretending not to see me arguing with the guards. The shame of it. The second phone he claims he found? It was an old work phone I'd forgotten about. I wasn't hiding anything. The Instagram printouts were from planning the trip with my friends. But Jeffrey needed to paint me as some calculating villain to justify his cruelty. And that video he keeps mentioning to everyone? Yes, I sent it. Because I wanted him to see what he was missing, what other men saw in me that he never appreciated, but he's showing it to everyone like it's porn or something. It was just a kiss. A kiss with someone who made me feel desired for the first time in years. Now he gets to play the heartbroken hero online while I'm stuck living with my parents in Ohio. I can't get a job because he's destroyed my reputation. I can't date because everyone thinks I'm a cheater. My entire future is ruined because I had one dinner with someone who showed me what I was missing. You know what the saddest part is? I was going to marry him. Despite the mediocre apartment, despite the ugly ring, despite the complete lack of ambition, I was going to settle for Jeffrey. But seeing how other men treated women, how they lavished them with gifts and trips and attention, made me realize I was selling myself short. Vittorio might have been a player, but at least he made me feel special for one night. Jeffrey made me feel like I should be grateful for the bare minimum for 3 years. And when I finally realized I deserved more, he destroyed my life for it. But Jeffrey doesn't want people to know the truth. He doesn't want them to know about all the times I begged him to take me somewhere nice, and he said we needed to save money. He doesn't want them to know about the birthday where he got me a $50 gift card to Target. He doesn't want them to know that I supported his career while he refused to support my dreams of a better life. He wants everyone to think I'm some gold digger who threw away true love for a yacht. But the truth is, I was a woman who realized she was worth more than what she was getting. And instead of stepping up, Jeffrey stepped on me. Now I'm 28, living in my childhood bedroom, completely broke. My friends from college are getting married in Tuscany and honeymoons in Bali while I can't even afford my own apartment. All because I spent 3 years with someone who thought ambition was a dirty word. My childhood bedroom still has the same pink walls from high school. The same twin bed. I wake up every morning staring at participation trophies from high school tennis and think, this is what my life has become. From a downtown apartment to my mother asking if I want pancakes for breakfast like I'm 16 again. The job interviews have been humiliating. Somehow everyone knows. Weren't you at Morrison Tech? They ask, already knowing why I'm not anymore. Jeffrey made sure of that. One Google search of my name and there's probably his Reddit posts, painting me as some gold-digging cheater who deserved everything I got. My mom keeps trying to cheer me up. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise, she says. Jeffrey was nice, but, well, you always seem to want more. Even my own mother thinks I should have been grateful for mediocrity. My dad's worse. He actually liked Jeffrey, thought he was stable and responsible. Now he looks at me like I threw away a winning lottery ticket for a scratch-off. That boy was going to take care of you, he says. Take care of me? I'm not a pet. I don't need someone to feed me the same 5 meals and give me a walk around the block. Jeffrey will find someone else, some girl who's happy with his grandmother's ring and his 1-bedroom apartment and his 5-meal rotation. Some girl who doesn't know what she's missing. Some girl who thinks work-life balance is more important than actually living life. But I know better now. I know there are men out there who buy first-class tickets without checking their bank accounts. Men who own yachts instead of just dreaming about maybe renting a boat someday. Men who understand that women deserve to be spoiled, not managed like a budget spreadsheet. The problem wasn't that I cheated. The problem was that I stayed with Jeffrey for 3 years when I should have left after 3 months. I let him make me believe that wanting nice things made me materialistic. That expecting romance made me high maintenance. That dreaming of a better life made me ungrateful. But that night on Vittorio's yacht, I remembered who I was. A woman who deserved champagne, not beer. A woman who deserved Michelin stars, not meal prep. A woman who deserved a man with ambition, not someone content with mediocrity. Jeffrey can tell Reddit whatever story makes him feel better. He can pretend he's some innocent victim who got played. But I know the truth. He was a mediocre boyfriend who punished me for wanting more than mediocre. And when I finally found the courage to reach for something better, he made sure I'd fall as far as possible. So yeah, I kissed another man. I wore the dress he bought me while doing it. I sent him a video because I wanted him to see what he was losing. But he'd already lost me long before that night in Greece. He lost me every time he chose saving money over making memories. Every time he chose his routine over romance. Every time he chose comfortable over extraordinary. I might be broke now, but at least I'm not settling anymore. I might be single, but at least I'm not pretending to be happy with someone who thinks Red Lobster is a special occasion. I might be starting over, but at least I'm not wasting my youth on someone who was already middle-aged at 27. You know what the worst part is? Sometimes at night, I go on Instagram and look at Vittorio's profile. He's already with some new girl, blonde, Swedish, probably another tourist. They're on his yacht, champagne in hand, living the life I had for exactly 1 week. And I think, that could have been me. But it couldn't have been, could it? Because I had Jeffrey. Jeffrey, who needed to think about a weekend trip to Miami. Jeffrey, who considered a fancy dinner to be Cheesecake Factory. Jeffrey, who thought romance was letting me pick the Netflix show on my night. I see our old friends posting pictures. Tom's birthday party, the one Jeffrey wrote about where I supposedly embarrassed myself. What he didn't mention is how his friend's girlfriend, Jen, who always hated me, interrogated me like she was some detective. All because I didn't want to admit that yes, I'd found someone who treated me better, and yes, I'd enjoyed every second of it until it fell apart. They're all probably laughing at me now. Poor Michaela, who thought she was too good for Jeffrey. Poor Michaela, who threw away a good man for a player with a boat. Poor Michaela, back in Ohio with nothing to show for it. But they don't understand. None of them understand what it's like to wake up at 25, 26, 27 and realize you're living someone else's definition of happiness. To watch everyone else level up while you're stuck at the tutorial. To know you're capable of more but be with someone who makes you feel greedy for wanting it. Jeffrey didn't leave me stranded in Greece. He set me free. And even though it cost me everything, at least now I know what I'm worth. More than a one-bedroom apartment? More than a grandmother's ring? More than a man who thinks ambition is a character flaw. I deserved better. I still deserve better. And someday when I find it, Jeffrey will still be in his apartment, meal prepping his chicken and broccoli, congratulating himself on ruining my life while calling it justice. But I'll be living the life I always wanted. The life I deserve. The life Jeffrey was too small to give me.